Okay, I'm going to take you through this from the very beginning, when I'm first logging on, to the very end of this first video. The first thing I do is block that. 22 is the first number that goes in, so I start with 22, and then it's 20, 2, 0, 34, 27, 33, 5, 3, 6. Okay, now the reason I am doing this at the hour of the day I am doing it is because there will be some people at the table. This is much better for me to try to teach when there are people at the table. Now I need to move this guy over because I might want to place a bet down there on the 32 or 3 or something. Okay, getting started. The first thing I did was put in the first 10 numbers, and always make sure that you have track 4 open enough that you can see all of the numbers. If you crunch some of the numbers, sometimes it'll make it mess up. So that's what, now as time goes on, you will see me decrease the size of this window because the window does not stay on top. And so each time you have to remember to click back. So what we are looking for is crossings. Crossings, if you were to graph this, these numbers right here in the 0 column are these numbers right up here at the top. They are numbers which have hit 0 times. So these are the numbers that have hit 1 time. There are 10 numbers that have hit 1 time. I made a mistake. No, I didn't. These are the numbers. Yeah. Okay. The 1. Got to put in the 1. Got to remember doing this. Okay. We have 26 numbers that have never hit. This number over here, these are the numbers that came. We have 11 numbers in now. The last number was the 1. These are the numbers that have not hit. These are the numbers that have hit once. These are the numbers that have hit greater than once. These are the numbers that have hit exactly 2. Greater than 2, exactly 3. This is exactly 1, greater than 1. There will be a big difference in that as time goes on. Now what we're looking for, if you were to graph this, the 0 column always goes down. It starts at 36 and it goes down to 3 or 4, 6, 7, wherever you decide to jump back. If you decide to jump back or quit or whatever. But it always goes down. Now, the greater than numbers always go up. They always go to a higher number. They never go down. However, the 1, the 2, or the 3, they may go up and then down. They may go up a couple of times. They may go down a couple of times. It's very dynamic, and you must watch it at all times because you can have a crossing appear and you'll miss it if you are not constantly on top of it. So this thing requires great concentration. What came there? The 30, 36, which is it? 30. Okay. It requires great concentration. It requires paying attention. Hopefully no distractions like telephones, barking dogs, gunfire, whatever. So we are sitting here right now at 25 to 12. That's a long ways away from a crossing. The first possible crossing you can have is when this one is at 19 and this one is at 18. Imagine in your head that this is a 19 and this is an 18. What you do, if you want to bet those 19 numbers, now you have to kind of decide where you want to start betting. You rarely ever see the 19-18 crossing because you'll always have greater than 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. But What you have to do is decide where you want to start betting. Usually it'll be something like 16-15, or it'll be 14-13, something like that. But whatever it is, let's just say that it was 19-18. You would bet the 19 numbers that have never hit, and if you get a hit, the 19 would become 18, and this 18 would become 19. In other words, you would get a crossing. If you were graphing this out on graph paper or on a computer screen the way Winkle did, you would see a crossing. There are many crossings. Winkle always said just to bet one crossing, and he always bet the one with the most numbers. I don't go for that. I have bet as many as 3 crossings at one time, and you never know which crossing is going to hit. And it has been my experience that no matter which crossing you leave out, it'll hit. So I do my best to get them all in there. Sometimes that's hard to do because you may have to bet a total of 20 numbers. And sometimes you bet 20 numbers and you just flat lose. And it's disgusting, but it happens. So the smaller, the further out you go to the right, the 3 versus the greater than 3, you will have very few numbers out there. You may have like 4 numbers that have hit 3 times and 3 numbers that have hit greater than 3 times. It may be 4, it may be 5, we don't know, because greater than 3 as far as it goes. But let's say you had a situation where you had 5 numbers that had hit 3 times, and you would bet those 5 numbers, because once you get a hit there, it'll go from a 5 to a 4. This one over here will go from a 4 to a 5. You'll see that if we ever get enough numbers to start betting. Okay, we're about to get a spin here, and we got the 31, looks like. Now, what I always do, I put the number in, and I look at the number, and then I look right up here, and I make sure before I punch that thing that I put in the right number, because if you put in the wrong number, you're just wasting time. Now see how I'm moving that in to where I can just see the 36, because you may need to bet that 0. Okay, so we're now at 24-13. Now we've got 13 numbers that have hit one time. That's this array right up here. And if we were for some reason betting those numbers, let's just say that later on in this little trot we get to a point where we have 13 numbers that have hit once, and we've got 12 numbers that have hit greater than once, or 12 numbers that have hit twice. Either one of those is a crossing. Sometimes greater than 1 and 2 will be the same thing. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes you'll have a crossing on one and you'll win, and your crossing will appear on the other one. It's very, very dynamic. You've got to stay on top of it all the time. You can't take your eyes off of it, you know, to even hardly reach for a cup of coffee or something. So, okay, crossings. Let's talk about crossings. You have I've got them written down here so I won't make a boo-boo. You have your 0 to 1. Now this will only happen one time. You have one shot at a 0 to 1, because once 0 has hit, a number cannot unhit. So if you have like 12 over here and 13 over here, well, the only way you ever get another crossing is if you get a bunch of hits on the 1. But this one will never, ever increase. It always goes like 27, 26, 25, 24. It's always going down. Now, the next crossing you could possibly have is the 1 versus either the greater than 1 or 2. Now, greater than 1 simply means the addition of all of these numbers, 2, 3, however many. So sometimes you can have 1 and your greater than 1 will be like 12, but your 2 will only be like maybe 8, because it's only hit exactly. See, I have to reiterate. The 0, 1, 2, 3. These are exactly. It's a hit exactly 3 times, exactly 2 times, exactly 1 time. The greater than 1s, greater than 2s, greater than 3s, they're not exact. 2 could be whatever it is. Okay, we got another number coming here. And it looks like 16. I just about have the wheel memorized. Now this is kind of unusual. We're getting a lot of 1 hits. We've had 14 times, but we have not had a 2. So I strongly suspect here in the next couple of minutes, a couple of spins, we're going to get a 2 here. So we'll watch for that. Now let's see, what else can I tell you while I'm sitting here? If you make a mistake, you can erase one number, and to do that you put in -2. I'll go ahead and do that while we're messing around here. -2. Now watch that 16 disappear. Okay, now I'm going to put it back in because it belongs there. Now if you jump back 20, or you jump back to 20, you put in -1, and what that does, that starts you over with 20 spins, and they are the last 20 to have come while you're playing. Right now there'd only be 14 because we only have 14 numbers, but if you had 80 numbers, it would cross off the first 60 and show you the last 20. And if things aren't going well in your trot, Winkle says, you know, jump back. Just don't even fight it. Just jump back. So I watch that. Sometimes I jump back quickly. Sometimes I usually go to 70 or 80 spins. What I'm doing, you can see after you've done this enough, you will be able to see a crossing in the future. Like just say, let's say 2 versus 3, just for fun. Let's say the 2 has 10 spins and the 3 has 7. Okay, the next time the 2 hits, it will have 9 and it'll have 8. So that would be a crossing. You get to where you can see these crossings coming 3 and 4 spins away. It looks like 4. Yep, you can see these crossings coming from 3 or 4 spins away. You will get to the point where you can say, wow, I've got 2 full spins before anything is going to happen. I can go to the bathroom, I can get me a cup of coffee, I can do whatever I want to do. But you always have to watch out for the crossings that sneak up on you, and they will. No matter how good you are at this, or no matter how many times you've done it, there will be a crossing that all of a sudden you say, wow, I didn't see that sucker coming. So what you always have to do is be looking at the 0 and see if it's either 1 larger or equal to the 1. It can be 18-18, it can be 18-17, it can be 16-15, it can be 16-16. It always has to be 1 larger or equal to, never 1 lower. Now the 15, you look at it and you say, okay, I could have a crossing 15, 1 versus greater than 1. I could have 1 versus 2. The next one you look at is the 2. And you say, okay, I could have a crossing between 2 and greater than 2. I could have a crossing between 2 and 3. The next one is the 3. You look at the 3 and said, I could have a 3 versus a greater than 3. And that's as far as it goes. But you always look at the numbers, not the greater thans. You always look at the numbers. That's the one that has to be bigger than the one to its right. It always must be bigger than the one to its right. And I better put a bet down here. I'll get left. Okay, we can scoot this up a little bit because our 36 is moving in. Okay. All right. What else? What else? What else can I tell you while we're... I might have picked a bad time. Looks like there's 4 people at the table. And, okay, we're going to get another spin here. We're getting closer to a crossing here. And now, there is one which I call a backward crossing, which is rather hard to explain, but and you don't see it that often, so I'm going to explain it because we may not see it in this trot at all. What do we get here? We get a... That's the big old goose egg. Okay. Okay, now we're setting at 22:14. Now, even that far out, you could start calculating, and you could say, okay, we're going to have 21:15, 20:16, 19:17, 18, what would it be, 16, 17, 15. Now, I messed up. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? You could have 21, and that one would be 15. You could have 20, 16. You could have 19, 17, 18, 18. So you can see it, if you hit perfectly on the ones in 4 spins, you would have a crossing. So I would know right now if I were wanting to use the bathroom or something. I've got plenty of time. Now, I hadn't noticed that, but the 0 moved in to the 2 slot. So, now, look at this. We only have 0. He's hit twice. It's greater than 1 because 2 is greater than 1, and it's exactly 2. Greater than 1, exactly 2, and it's the same figure. But greater than 1, if you had a hit out here, say you had 1 hit right here on the 3, greater than 1 would be 2, because you'd add the 2 and the 3. But this would still be. So that's why sometimes you can have a crossing appear, you can bet it, win it, and then another crossing will appear right behind it when you put the new number in. Or sometimes the wrong number will hit and you won't get to bet it but one time. And then your crossing goes away, as they say. And the way that happens is if you had, let's say you had 18 versus 17. Okay, that's a crossing. But suppose this one hit instead of this one, then it would be 18, 16. Well, that's not a crossing because it's not 1 or even. Okay, let's see what we go here. 15. Okay, 21:15. Okay, now let me try to explain this backward crossing. There may come a time when 0 and greater than 1 they would be a crossing if it wasn't for this. But if you bet these numbers on the 1, that will cause a crossing because it will decrease the 1 if it wins, and it'll go to a greater than 1. That's hard to explain, but just say this was, say for instance, 10, and this one was 10. Okay, that's not really a crossing, but if you bet this, then this one would become an 11 because it becomes greater than 1. It's not something Winkle recommended doing, but I have done it many times when I see the backward crossing. And it's only, as far as I can tell through all the studies I've done, the only time you get it is on the 0 to greater than 1. And to me, it's just another crossing. It's just another thing to bet. So when it appears, you know, I bet it. Okay. Let's see where we're going now. What else can I tell you? What else? What else? What else? Now, the way I bet this, I have a little 3x5 card with a mark right at the top, so that when I place it on these numbers right up here, that mark I usually 4 at a time. I put my mark right there at 4. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, and I bet those. Then I go 4 more. 5, 6, 15, 16. I use my left hand on that, and I keep track because it will be easy to leave out a number. And what I try to do is, if I'm betting 50-cent pieces and I bet 8 numbers, I know that my bet should be $4 because 8 50-cent pieces is $4. If I'm betting $1, it's a lot easier. You just look to see. And that way you can see if you either left out a number or you put in too many numbers. One of the two. Now, as far as a stop loss or when to quit if you've won some money, this thing goes in cycles, just like everything else. You'll have losing cycles and you'll have winning cycles. You will have times when you think, man, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It just hits and hits and hits and hits. And it will. And there's other times when it just, it's like, good grief, you couldn't buy a hit, you know. Okay, we're getting closer to a crossing here. Now we're 2016. We're only 2 spins away from a crossing. So what I do, I just kind of, you know, Winkle said you got to have what he called gambler's intelligence. You just kind of have to look at the way things are going, and if they're going really bad, sometimes it's best just to, you know, take a $50 loss or a 50 unit loss or whatever you have to do, and just close her down, you know, and come back next time, or jump back. That's when Winkle says to jump back. You know, use your -1 and go back to the last 20, and you know, then when you go back to that last 20, it's a whole new world. The wheel's different, everything's different. So sometimes that helps. Now I want to touch on what I said a while ago about the 1, the 2, and the 3 going up and down in count. Look at this. It goes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Uh-oh, goes to 14. Then back to 15, then to 16. So that's how many numbers there are in the 1 column. If you were to go up here and count them right now, there's 16. If you get a hit here on the 0, let's say the 32 hit, the 32 will move from here right down to here. So then you'll have 17 numbers in your number 1 array. So that's why the numbers can go up and down. Say you get a hit on the 16, okay, it'll go down to 15. Say you get a hit on the 25, it'll go back up to 16. I've seen it just go back, you know, flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop from one to another. And that's why you have to be so very careful to watch your crossings, or you will miss a crossing. Now the first possible crossing we could have here would be, this would be 19, 17, 18, 18. So we're 2 spins away, unless these numbers start hitting, or even the 0 can hit again and move to the 3. Now, something I have noticed, and something I sometimes bet on, and I've had some pretty good luck with it, whatever number makes it to 3, they will just almost certainly make it to greater than 3. If there's like 3 numbers that have made it to 3, I'll start betting on them, because you can just almost guarantee if there are 3 of these numbers in this 3, one of them's going to make it down here. So I'll start betting on those 3 numbers, and that is one of the times when I'll bump my bet up every once in a while, because you know, if I've gone too many times without a win, I'll bump it up, because it will win. Well, I've never seen it fail. I've never seen it fail to hit greater than 3. So let's see what we get here. It looks like the 20. Is it the 20? Yep. Okay, now then, we have 2 numbers in the 2 line, which made this go to 15. He dropped one out. The 20 dropped out. He was up here, dropped out. Now he's down here, so this is now 15. So there's a difference. Now, if the 20 or the 0, either one, would move to the 3, which is very likely that one of them will do it, this would become a 1, and this would become a 1, and I would bet this. I would bet this crossing, even though it's only one number, because it's really a lot of fun when you hit a single number straight up, and I've hit quite a few of them. I've hit a lot of them when there's only 5 or 4 or 5 numbers. Another thing I bet, you will reach a point where you will have in your 0 line up here, you'll have 4 or 5 numbers. Sometimes maybe I'll start at 6. So you got 6 numbers up there. In the greater than 3, you may have like 3 numbers. And you'd be surprised how many times one of those will hit. So a lot of times I'll bet those 9 numbers. And this is, you know, this is where a person just has to decide what they want to do. That is not the way Winkle said to do it. That's the way that I've come up with on my own. But after you've stared at this screen for hours and hours and hours, you begin to notice trends or patterns or whatever you want to call it. And gosh, we've been on here 25 minutes and we've got 19 spins to show for it. I may have picked the wrong time, people. I don't know. I may have picked the wrong time. I may just go till we get our first crossing and then come back and another time and start from a different point of view. Now that 15, see, it was a 16, now it's a 15, it will take even more spins to get a crossing, because you'll have 19, 16, 18, 17. No, it'd still just take 2. No, 3. Looks like 3. Yep. Okay. Now we've got 3 numbers in the 2 array. If one of those should become a 3, I would bet the other 2, because that would be, in this one you would have 2, in this one you'd have 1. So that'd be a crossing, 2 versus 1. Because if you got a hit, it would switch from 2 versus 1 to 1, 2. Wouldn't be a versus anymore, it'd just be a 1 on the 2 line and a 2 on the 3. I don't know, I may have messed up. I didn't think it would be that busy. It is right now in Dublin. It's 5:03 a.m. So these guys are gonna eat breakfast there, I guess. And look at table 2. It's busy too. Okay, what else can I tell you? What else? Oh, let me tell you a couple of things Winkle said. I don't know, probably most of you are familiar with a thing called Parando's paradox. And this has been studied by mathematicians, and it's the truth. It doesn't sound like it, but it is. Parando came up with 2 losing games. If you played each game individually, you would lose. But if you played both games and just randomly switched from one game to another, it became a winning game. That doesn't sound logical, but like I said, the mathematicians have tested it and checked it out and run computer simulations, and it is true. People have tried to adapt it to roulette on the forums. But what Winkle says, if you were to bet one and only one crossing, just like maybe the 0 versus 1, and you didn't ever bet anything other than that, what's that, 729? Nope, 28. That's why I always check. 1915. All right, we're getting a little closer now. Anyway, what Winkle said was, if you only bet one crossing, like this one, 0 versus 1, then it would become a losing game, because your 2.7% would eventually catch up with you. But he said when you play all of these different games, it becomes a winning game. And he never could explain why, and Confucius programmed a computer to show that he was wrong, that it is not a winning game. But I don't know. I don't know. I've always had just pretty good luck with it. I think the thing is, you just have to learn what the flow of numbers are doing, and you kind of have to go with the flow. And okay, it thinned out a little there at the table. That's a good thing. 19, if we get 2 more hits on that 1, we'll have a crossing there. It'll be 18, 17. I don't like to bet 18 numbers. That's a lot of numbers to bet. But I'll do it anyway just to show you a crossing if we ever get there. Anyway, Winkle said that if you bet all of these, it becomes a stochastic process, which I have studied that on Wikipedia and on the internet, and I do not know what a stochastic process is. I can't get my mind around it. Some of you probably do know what it is, but that's what he said. And he said if you take all that into consideration, it becomes a winning game. And also, he groups these things into a group. He thinks of it as the one group, the two group, the zero group, and so forth. And let's see what we get here. Is that the 32? Okay, we're closer. We're closer. If we don't get a hit on the one, we're pretty close to it'll be a 17. That won't be too bad. Anyway, he groups these together. And let's just take this one, for instance, the one group. He says if it's constantly coming down for about 4 times, like say it went 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Okay, you've had 5 hits on that. Do you think you're going to get another one on that group? That's kind of like betting a dozen 5 times in a row. Do you think you're going to get a 6th? You know, so he says sometimes he looks at those and he says, no, I'm not going to bet that crossing because I just don't think that group is going to hit one more time. I think it'll be another group. And he said sometimes give it 2 times. If it misses twice, then it's kind of recycled itself or something, and you might get a hit on it. Now, I watch that. I don't always go by it, but sometimes I do. But there's one thing that Winkle said that was very important. Pass a crossing if you don't have a good feel about it, because there are hundreds of millions of crossings. They're just, they'll be there as long as roulette is being played. There's going to be crossings. So it's not like it's a diamond or something that you find once in a lifetime. You just pass it and go on to the next one. And if it hits, you just say, oh, well, it hit. What the heck? Can't win them all. Don't even try. And I have gone by that a couple of times. And there have been a couple of times that I've bet on them, and they've lost a couple of times, and I just said, well, fully, I'll wait. I'll just let it recycle, and I'll let it miss a couple of times and come back. And a lot of times I'll hit it on the 3rd shot. Now, another thing Winkle said was he only bets them so many times. Like if this was 17, he would only bet the 17 twice, because 17 numbers and 17 numbers is 34 numbers, and the best you can do is make 1 or 2, whatever it is, points off of 35. So you only make 1 chip, so he wouldn't bet it a 3rd time. I kind of break that rule. I kind of bet them, what is that, 25? Is that a 5? That's a 5. Let's see. No crossing. I bet them. Sometimes I bet them 4 and 5 times. I don't know. It just seems to work for me. It seems to me like every time I quit betting one, the very next spin, that son of a gun will hit. So, and it just depends on how the day's going. Sometimes, you can't do anything right. Sometimes you can't do anything wrong. Now the next one, if we get a hit on this, see, this would be a good hit here, a good bet, because if we get a hit, this will be 17 and this will be 16. But it will have gone 20, 19, 18, 18, 17. So it's not going just, down in a row. Now, there are times when you will get a crossing because the number other than, I always call these the primary numbers. The 0, the 1, the 2, and the 3. They're your primary numbers because they're the one that's always going to be bigger. But sometimes you will get a hit, or you'll get a crossing because somebody else out here hits. Let's just say, for instance, that you had 8 of the number 1 and you had 9 number 2s. Well, that's not a crossing. But if number 2 gets a hit, it will become 8 and 8. And then it will be a crossing. So you always have to look for that happening. And sometimes this thing will have sat here, and it won't have hit for the last 5 or 6 times, and all of a sudden your 2 will hit and it'll make a crossing. And that's one of your best crossings, because it's going to, I don't know, it just seems to me like it hits more. Okay, well, he's got more people there again. Good grief. Don't they ever go home and go to bed in Ireland? Now my bankroll right now is $311.99. I went down to a low of $60 today, and I only started with 100. No, I didn't. I started with 90 something. I can't remember, but I went down to 60, and I've gone solidly up ever since. I was planning to go to $1 bet. I've been betting 50-cent bets. I was going to go to $1 once I made it to the 300, but since I'm doing this tutorial, I'm just going to do 50-cent pieces. Gosh, look how they're loading up on that zero. Look at that. Man, they are loading up on that puppy. Okay, this may be a crossing. I am ready. What is that? 25. That is a crossing. Okay, now I bet the zero numbers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 18, 13, 7. Why am I in a hurry? 19, 21, 20, 23, 24, 26, 29, 35, 36. Okay. Alright, now I can look real quick and see that 850, that's 17 numbers. That's what I'm supposed to be betting. So, now if you noticed, I bet a lot of splits. The reason I do that is because the time it takes me to double click on that split, I can move my eyes and move my card and see what my next bet is. And that's very important when you are in a hurry, because a lot of times I play in the morning here in my world, and over there it's like 3 in the afternoon, and it'll be the table will be totally empty, and you get a dealer like Monica, and I mean, she is a spinning fool. She doesn't even give the thing time to get the timer clicked down before she's trying to spin. So you really have to move fast to get, especially like when you're betting 17 numbers, and it never fails. When, you know, whatever number you leave out, you know, so many times that thing will hit. So, okay, let's see if I make $1 here. Now I want you to look up here at the 2. We have 4 numbers in the 2. So if one of those hit, that would go to 3, and that would be a 3 versus 1. Well, that wouldn't be a crossing. What you have to have is 2 of these numbers make it to the 3, and then you would have a crossing. Okay, here we go. Here's our bet coming up. Let's see if I can win one. Probably, since I'm making a video here, everything that can go bad will, but we'll see. What is that? 3? I sure didn't want that. Okay, let's see if I still have my crossing. Yep, that's one of those numbers right up there, see? Okay, I still have my crossing, so I'm going to bet it again. And this thing goes up and down. I mean, you will have, you know, you'll lose 4 or 5 bets in a row, but then you'll hit 3 or 4 in a row with very few numbers, like with 5 or 6 numbers on it, and you'll get all your losses back and a profit. So, all right, that's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it usually works, unless you just get the run from hell, and sometimes you get it, and the thing you can do about it, you know, just, you know, I don't believe it's the dealer. I don't believe it's the way the ball is thrown. I think it is just rotten luck, just like Ralph says, you know, you need to be lucky, you know. And it seems like this gut program allows you to kind of be lucky more than you're not lucky. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway. But what really hurts is like that 3, I believe it's right next to 35. And 35 would have been a winner. 26 is right there. It's close. It would have been a winner. Sometimes when you really need a winner, like if you need the 28 or the 29, you'll hit the 7, which is right dead smack in the middle of 28 and 29. And it's like, oh, God, what did I do? I think the devil himself spins this wheel. Come on, Ola, spin the darn thing. Okay, where are we at? We've been on here 40 minutes. This is one place where that touch bet's got it all over the live wheel and chips, because it is so much faster. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can catch me one here. Number 30. That doesn't work either. Okay, now that destroyed my crossing. Now it went, see, the one that got hit was the 1. And that made a 17-15. So the next crossing that I have would be a 16-16. And if one of these 4 numbers moves down, I'll have a crossing on the 2 versus 3. Now that took me down to 294. It took me down below 300. Well, it took me down $17. I know how much it took me down, so. I gotta win at least one crossing. Or you'll think, why in the heck should I try to learn this thing? It just loses. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see that 3 hit again, because he's moved into that 3 position. That means he's hit 3 times. 2 of them are on the screen. There's one, there's one. And that is like Mr. J and his Catch the 8 train, when he says Whaley hit 3 times before you start betting them. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see that 3 move to greater than 3. Now, if that were to happen, and one of the others, let's say the 3 is right down here, and one of the others, that'd still be a crossing, because then you'd have 2 versus greater than 3. So, I'm sorry, you'd have 2 versus greater than 2. Not 2 versus greater than 3. You'd have 2 versus greater than 2. 2 versus greater than 3 is not a crossing. Okay, see if we can get a hit on that 1. Is that the 0 again? Yep. Okay, now we got a crossing here. And here it is. It's the 3, right here, the 2 versus greater than 2, or 2 versus 3. In any event, I'm going to bet the 5, the 20, and the 30. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and scoot this in some. See, if this hits, if one of those numbers hit, the greater than 2 and the 3 both will become a 3. And this will become a 2. So it's crossed from 2 to 3. Yep, folks, I picked the wrong time to make a video. Okie dokie. Now, what do we got? We've got one in the... See, I told you a while ago, when they make it to 3, they'll always make it to greater than 3. Now, our crossing is 2 versus greater than 2. And down here, our crossing is 3 versus greater than 3. So now I bet the 5, the 20, and the 30. And I also bet the 3. Alright, let's review that. 2 versus greater than 2. These 3 numbers in the 2 column are the 5, the 20, and the 30. Now, the numbers in the 3 column is just the 3. That's a 1 versus 1. What that'll do, if you get a hit on the 3, this will become a 0, and this will become 2. And that's a crossing. So now I got $2 bet. Back-to-back zeros. Maybe that'll thin out a few people or something. Okay, here's something I have learned. You get what I call the boredom factor. When it's like this and it gets slow, you get bored, you get sleepy, you get whatever it is you get, and you quit paying attention, and that's when you screw up. Now, right now, we could have this happen. Say you got a hit on the zeros. That would go to 16, and this would go to 16, but that would not change anything out here. These numbers would not change. So all I would do would be hit rebet and then add my 16 numbers. So that would be one of those cases where I would be betting 3 different crossings. And a lot of times when you do that, one of your little ones will hit, and you still got your 16-16 to take a shot at. Good grief, we're 49 minutes into this thing, 28 numbers. What else have I learned about this gut that I can tell you? Oh, what else? Gosh, I've told you about everything there is to know. Okay, here we go. Getting a spin finally. Good grief. I would not be a bit surprised to see that 3 hit and move into that greater than 3 column. Okay, what do we got? Looks like 13. Okay. And that did just what I said. There's my 16, 16. So I'm going to rebet. Then I'm going to bet the 16 numbers of 0. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 17, 18, 19. 21, 23, 24. 26, 29. 35, 36. Okay, now I have 20 numbers bet, and I'm down to $281. So that's the way it goes. Now, please understand that we are not betting splits. I mean, and we're not betting dollars. I'm betting 50 cents. That's on the 7 and 8. I just do it that way because, like I said, it gives me just enough time while I'm going click, click. It gives me enough time that I can look up there and see what my next number is. And that really helps when you're in the weeds. Okay, I sure would like to get a hit. But you know as well as I did today, I shouldn't even be playing today. I mean, tonight, because I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like if I have a really good session and I do well, my next session will be a booger. And it's just like you went to the well too many times or something. Alright, here we go. Okay, I got my card in my hand, I got my fingers close to the keyboard so I can put in the number. I got my glasses adjusted. I'm staring at the wheel when it comes up big to see what it's going to be. I just assume it'd be that 3. And it's 25. That's another loser. Good gosh. 271. Now, if you'll notice on this, it created another crossing. It went from 16 to 15 because the ones hit, but this went from 4. No, it didn't create a crossing, it killed a crossing. Because 4, 2 is not a crossing. So I got to take off the numbers in the 2 column, which are the 5, 20, 25, and 30. 25, of course, is the number that hit, so it wouldn't be there. 30. Now, I don't have a crossing, but I still have the 3 versus 0. So I've got a 4 to 2. That's what I have. 4, 2. That won't work. But I still have a 16, 15, which is 1 greater over here, so that works. Okay. This is not good. I don't like this. Sometimes I judge a session by how it does on your big numbers. I have missed a 17 twice or 3 times, I can't remember which. I missed a 16 once. If you miss those several times, you might want to rethink your game, your session, because if you can't hit the big ones, boy, it's really hard to hit the little ones. So, what is that? 10? Well, I got one. Okay, I'll put in the 10. Now, see how it went from 16 to 15? I'm going to still bet that 3. Okay, I'm going to clear, and I'm going to bet the 3. Okay, see how it went from 16-15 to 15-16. That's just a perfect switch in the way that, you know, the graph would look. It would look like your fingers crossed. Okay, I'm back to 290. I'm not too bad a shape. Now, on this next one, this is my amount, and I would add $18 to it if I were to hit on that 3, which would take me to $308, which would be just a little bit shy of where I started. But a lot of times on this thing, like I said, your losses will come in groups and your hits will come in groups. And the devil is knowing when to stop when you're losing, because you say, you know, the next 3 bets, the next 3 or 4, I'm just going to win like crazy. So it makes it really hard to determine, you know, what you're going to do. That 3 really ought to hit this time, I'll tell you. Come on, Mr. 3. It's 5:33 in the morning in Dublin. You'd think these people would go home, go to breakfast, go broke, go crazy, something. They just keep betting. I saw a guy the other night sitting right here where this fella is with this jacket. I don't know what he was doing, but I mean, that son of a gun was winning. I mean, I saw them scoot chips over to him all night long. Are those hundreds? Surely they're not. They look like, in America, those would be hundreds when they're black like that. Okay, let's see if I can get me a number 3 here. Or something. It's the good old 0 again. Now, what about it? I said if it goes down to here, yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to rebet my 3, but when you have a hit on the greater than 3, that changes nothing. It'll always just be, you watch this row of numbers and you'll see absolutely nothing change because it's dead. They just blink and they're exactly the same thing. 15, 15, 6, 4, 2, 1. So anytime you have a hit right there, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. Now, remember I've been telling you about this thing I call green on the screen? Well, look at the green on the screen. I used to bet that, and when I get my bankroll built up, I'll go back to betting it because it never let me down. Anytime there was a green, I'd bet the next 10 spins. If I could see a green right here where this 5 was, I still had a bet on the green. Now, when it went down here and I had no green, that's when I quit. But here, you know, I would have started right here. When this one came, that'd be my clue. Green on the screen. I'd have won that one. I'd have won that one. Now, you may go 40 or 50 times on that green on the screen. I used a progression. I used a single number progression. I bet it 10 times. And like I say, you go 40, 50, 60 times, never hit a green. And then all of a sudden, it'd be just like this. They're just green everywhere. So, and if I ever get my bankroll built back up to where I want it, you know, I go back to playing that. The only thing is, if you're playing green on the screen and this, if you get too many things going at one time, you will get confused and miss. Come on, guys. Get your bets down. I bet there's not a one of you guys left watching this. Okay. Now, if I were to get hit, look here. I'll do some more teaching here. Let's say I got a hit on the 1 right here. Okay, that would change your 2 to a 5. and it would change greater than 1 to a 7, but this would be a 15, 15, and that would be a bet again on the 0. So you always have to watch, even though this number is littler than this number, they would equalize. And if they equalize, that's a bet. So let's see what happens here. Yep, green on the screen. Look at that. It's killing me. It's killing me. It's killing me. Now all those people sitting around their table, they've been watching this, and they said, that damn 0 hit back to back. There's no way on God's green earth that thing's going to hit back to back twice in a row. Oh, I see somebody bet it. I see him counting out money. There's the pit boss over there. Look at him. He's over there. Was he pointing at the wrong guy? Okay, I'll rebet my 3. God, if that 0 hits again. Now, this isn't hurting. This is really not killing me. I can laugh because I got a 50-cent bet down. But I'm going to tell you what, if you got 17 numbers down and these zeros, my goodness, it just kills you. I thought about betting after that 0 right there. I thought, I just know damn well I'm going to get another 0, because see, this comes into my system where you have back-to-back hits. If you have a back-to-back hit, you bet that one for 10 spins, and that's all. And I have seen that hit more times than I could count. Now this one I would have bet twice, because I'd have bet it once for green on the screen, and I'd have bet it once because it's a back-to-back hit. So when this number right here hit a while ago, I thought about betting that thing, but I'm trying so hard to stick with my plan. That's where I lose, is I have a plan, just like Turner Feck said one time in one of his posts. I have a plan. I go to the casino. I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. I did the very same thing the other day when I played that Gator system that Wally Gator posted. I got to the casino. I didn't have it written down on a card, and I did not even know what I was doing. I completely failed to bet one of the quads. Completely failed. So I try very hard when I sit down. This is what I'm going to bet. I'm not going to bet anything else. And I'm going to hope, that I can. Okay, that's a 13. Okay, that made my 15-15 crossing. Okay, now I bet my 0 numbers. 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 21, 19, 21, 23, 24, 26, 29, 35, 36. That time I put them down as singles just to be doing. Okay, now we've got in the 2 array, we've got a 5 versus 2. Now if you got one hit on that, that would change to a 4 versus 3 on the greater than 2, but it wouldn't on the 3. It would be a 5 versus 2, which would not be a crossing. That's why I say sometimes you can have a crossing on the 5, on the 2 versus greater than 2, but you won't have a crossing on the 2 versus 3. But sometimes when you hit, it'll change everything, and you just have to constantly be on your toes. I'm going to move that in a little more. Okay, let's see if we can. Oh, we got a new Renata. We got a new dealer here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, gosh. Well, we still got the same crossing. 15-14 now. And I still got my 3 versus greater than 3, hoping for a hit on my 3. Okay, what do we get? 15. Good grief. Okay. That killed my crossing. Now it's a 15-13. Okay. Now this is one of those cases where when I have missed that many big numbers, you know, it's just not my night, you know. And I'm going to quit very shortly because I've lost $35, around $35, which is not a lot, but it's, you know, 70 units. So, but when you miss that many big numbers, that's one of your clues that it's just not your night. And I've missed, I think I've missed it, all of them but one. I bet one of them it hit, and the rest of them I missed. And it seems like when you start hitting a lot of these smaller numbers, it's like, oh, it really is your night, you know. Now, a crossing that would appear would be the 13, the 1 column, versus the 9. This would become 12, this would be 10, this would be 11, this would be 11. So in 2 spins, that could be a crossing. Okay, see if I can get my 3. Oh, I got a 1. Okay. Alright, see that made 12, 10. I bet my 3, 4, forget about it. That caused what I was talking about a while ago. One more hit on that and it'd be 11, 11. Now, that's one of those things that you have to stop and think about. Well, do you want to bet it? Because it would have gone 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. It would have gone 5 bets in a row. You'd bet 11 numbers on a grouping that had just hit 5 in a row. So, hard to say. Now if we get a hit on this 15, that would change that to a 14 and that to a 13, and that would be a new bet. So you guys are probably saying, who in the hell would want to play this? But today I was at about 304, and I had a horrible run of luck, and I went down to about $180, and just in a matter of 8 or 10 spins, I was back to that 311 you saw when I first started this thing, because I just got hit after hit after hit, and they were all on like 5 and 6 number crossings. Okay, let's see what's going to happen now. Four. Okay, there it is. There's that 11 to 11 crossing. Now then, it went 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and bet it, but it's not a very good bet. Now I'm going to bet the one numbers. 2, 6, 14, 16. 2, 6, 14, 16, 22, 27, 28, 31, 32, 33, 34, 31, 32, 33, 34. Okay. And I still got my 3 in play. 9 to 2. This is no sign of a crossing there. Now, here's something. If this were to hit, this would become a 10, and the 2 would become a 10. So you would still have a crossing. Even though you hit on that, you'd still have a crossing. That's why I say you've got to constantly watch out for what you're doing. Three. There's that 3 I've been wanting so bad. Okay, now we'll put in the 3. And that destroyed that crossing because it's a 0 whatever. So now I've got the 11, 11. So what I do is just rebet, take out my 3, and I'm good to go. But see how that one didn't hit? But since my little 3 come in and helped me out, then, you know, I'm okay. Okay, now let's see what happens. And like I told you at the beginning of the trot, I have never seen these 3 numbers. The majority of them will always make it down to the greater than 3. So that's one of the best bets I've ever seen on this. That's one where you can use, I would feel pretty confident using a progression. Another place I'd feel pretty confident using a progression is on this 0, because it seems like it will always hit sooner or later. But look here, look at the 15s. It hadn't hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hadn't been hit on that in 9 spins. And I hope I'm not hexing myself, because if this one hits, that'd be a 12, 11, and I'd just add 1 number to it, and that'd still be a bet. So pull for the number 6 maybe, or 28 or 29, or no, not 0. 19. Boy, I can't buy a hit tonight. Okay. And that's just what happened. I got a hit on that. It changed, made this 12. So the number that just hit goes in. I rebet and I put in the 19. And now I have a 12, 11 crossing. That son of a gun, it waited all that time just to do me dirty. Jeez. And let's see, I don't have anything close to the 2. I mean, he's 9 and these are 2. The very next crossing would be the 1 versus 2. That'd be pretty much it. You see, we're at spin 40, and we have not had a 0, or yeah, we have had a 0-1. It was 16 something. Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing, you're getting to see a bad game in progress. Not just because it's taken so rotten long, but it's just been, it just hasn't been a good game. Well, that one guy that was sitting right here, he left, so maybe that'll speed things up a little bit. Good, spin the darn thing. Okay, what do we get here? The one again. Son of a gun. Okay, we're still on that 1 versus greater than 1. Yep. Now it switches back. Now it's 0. 7, 9, 11, 12. 17, 18, 21. 23, 24, 26. 29, 35, 36. Okay, now we're betting the 0 versus 1. Okay, I'm down about $50. If this doesn't turn around in the next 3 or 4 spins, you know, I'm gonna call it a night, because I'm just really hitting really bad numbers. And I'll tell you another time when you know when to quit. When you get about, there's sometimes you get about 4 or 5 numbers down here in the greater than 3 row. When you get that and they start hitting, I've had them hit 2 or 3 times in a row. When that happens, you might as well pack it in because it's not going to fly. Come on, number 21. That'd work real well. Come on, 21. 15. I swear to God. Oh. Okay. We'll try it a little bit more. Now that brought up another crossing. That brought up the 3 versus greater than 3, which is the 1 and the 15. So I'll go ahead and put the 1 and the 15 in. And I still have my 1313 here. And I'm down to $252. This is not good. I have not one time been above my $311.99 that I had when I sat down here. And that's what I have against this so-called hit and run. Because I haven't had a chance to run because I haven't hit. I have not done well at all. And I don't know how anybody would, think that they could sit down and hit and run and never have this crap happening, which you see happen to me right now, because I guarantee you it happens. And this right here, this little trot right here is just about the best example of hit and run that I've ever had, or I could ever show anybody. Maybe we'll get a double 15. $21, that's what I wanted last time, wasn't it? Okay, now there's a win. Now that brings up a different situation. We're gonna rebet, and now we have a 12, 11, 0. No, wait a minute, that's not a crossing. Ooh, almost made a mistake there. Okay, I got to think about that, but I'm going to clear that, and then I'm going to bet my 1 and 15. Yep, see, that's, I almost made a boo-boo. 12, 11 is not a crossing. But now this is where you have the backward crossing, I think. Let me believe. Only they've got to, for the backward crossing to work, they've got to be the same. It's got to be 12, 12, and then you bet the numbers in the middle, and that causes this one to increase. See, if I bet the numbers in the middle this time, it would become a 12-12. You want it to be a 12-12 before you bet. So if I had a hit on this, which raised that to a 12, I would bet the 13 numbers here for a backward crossing. So let's see if we can get a 1 or a 15. Wouldn't that be a hoot if I got 2 in a row? Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Right next to the 15. Gee, God, that hurt. There it is. There's the backward crossing. I'm going to bet this just to show you what it's like. See this? 12, 12. I'm going to bet the 13, 1 numbers. 2, 6, 8, 14. 16, 19, 21, 22. 27, 28. 31, 33, and 34. Also, that's a crossing for the, this just happened. This is a real strange thing. I hadn't even noticed this. But this is a crossing for 1 versus greater than 1, because that's a 13, 12. You don't very often see that. Usually this will be a different number, like it'll be a 15 or a 16, which wouldn't be this crossing right here, this 1 versus greater than 1. So not only is this a backward crossing, it's just a regular crossing. So I ought to kick them all up to $1. but I'm not. Since I said that, it'll win. Look at that stack on that 0. Look at that. Man, somebody's really playing that 0. Okay, let's see what we get here. 35. Son of a bitch. Okay, let's see what that did. Okay, that ruined my crossing. Now it's a 14. Okay, all I got left is my 115. Okay, let's look at what might be our next crossing. We have the 8, 4 on the 2 versus greater than 2. So that would be a 7, 5, 6, 6. So that one's 2 spins away. And then we have the 1 versus 2. Well, got the 1 versus greater than 1 first. A hit on this would create a 13, 13. That'd be a bet. And then several hits later, it'd be a 1 versus 2. Okay, let's see what we got. Double 35, look at that. Okay, that made a 13, 13 right here. So now we have a crossing there. And it's the 1 numbers. 2, 6, 8, 14, 16. 2, 6, 8, 14, 16. 19, 21, 22. 27, 28, 31. 33, 34. Now, if I get a hit, which would be a loser, which I hope I don't get, but if I got a hit on this, I'd change this to a 14, 13, which would still be a crossing. But let's hope for 1 number, because this is killing me. Okay. $33. Got one. Now let's see. Let's clear that. Bet my 1, my 15, so I don't forget it. Now let's see what we got. Okay, we got, no we don't. Got nothing. I thought we had a 1 versus 2, but this would have to be an 11 for it to be a 1 versus 2. So we don't have that. And this would need a 10 somewhere, and that'd be 0 versus 2, and that's not a crossing. And the reason it's not a crossing, if 0 were to hit, this 1 would increase by 13. It would be, increase to 13, but this 10 would not move. It would still be exactly 10 hits on the 2 and exactly 13 hits on the 1. So that would not be a crossing. Now, if these were dead level, you might say, okay, if I bet the 1, then that would cause this to go up, and that would be a crossing. So that's the backward crossing there on the 0 versus 2, bet the 1. And I'm going to tell you something. I am not the least bit surprised that 33 hit, and not because of this system. But I have said many times that numbers are connected. They have a relationship, and I don't know what it is. But the 35 and the 33 are very much connected. And when you see a 35 and a 35, it's not unusual to see a 33 at all. Come on, 15 or 1 or somebody. What is that? 18. Okay, what does that do? Okay. Now, there's a case where I could bet a backward crossing, because if this hit, the 2 would go to 11, so it'd be 10, 11. Now, do I want to do that? As bad a luck as I'm having, do I want to do that? Yep, I do. 7, 9, 11, 12. 17, 23, 24. 26, 29, 36. Now, if you were to graph this, these two guys are on the same. Whoa, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm going to change my mind. Something just occurred to me. If I got a hit on the 10, if I got a hit on the 2s, that would make a crossing. And I can't bet 13 numbers and 10 numbers both, so that's just out. The only time that ever works is on the 0 versus greater than 1, where you only bet the 1 column because nobody else can make a change. You cannot change the greater than 1 by hitting anything except the 1. And over here you could hit the 2 and change it, or you could hit the 1 and change it. So the only time the backward crossing works is right here. So I got to remember that. I almost made a mistake. Hey, you watch it hit. You watch those 1s hit. I'll just bet you anything they do. 28. Let's see if they did. Yeah, did I tell you, son of a... And there's the crossing. This went from 10 to 10 to 10 to 11. It's backward. Whoa, the 1 versus 2 is a crossing. Off 2, 6, 8, 14. 16, 18, 19. 21, 22, 27. I just about missed that. Oh, see the 1 versus 2, 12, 11. Now what I did there, I got so carried away with this little joke that happened here on me that I almost missed, you know, what I really needed to see. So, but now for me to win, this has to hit twice in a row. 12, 13, 12, okay. Oh my gosh. You know, there's an old saying, you put a bet up and take it down and it'll always hit. You know, somewhere or another it'll always hit. So, what is that, 21? Hey, that's a winner. Okay. Alright, I still got my 115. Let's see what else I got here. 10, 11 is not a crossing. 11, 12 sure isn't a crossing. Oh, I've got to take that 21 off. Okay. Well, crap, I hate it that I didn't go ahead and bet that now, but that's second guessing yourself. That would have been a mistake to have missed that crossing. That would have really been that would have been hurtful. That would have been hurtful. Now, what's the next crossing that might happen? Okay, if we get a hit on the 1 right here, if this hits again, that'll create a 10 versus 10 right here. So I would bet the 10-0 numbers. Okay, let's see what we got here. 26. Nope. Okay, we got the 1 back in. 12, 12. 1, 2, 6, 8, 14, 16. 2, 8, 14. Get down there. 16. 18, 19, 22, 26, 27, 31, 34. Okay, see if I missed it. This is very strange. This right up here, these things are usually, that 3 is usually 4 or 5 numbers by now, and sometimes the greater than 3 is 4 or 5 numbers. So this has been a very strange trot of numbers, but I do have a 12 versus 12 right here on the 1 versus 2. Okay, let's see if we can get another one here. Nope. Okay, I'm going to rebet that. Now, that created a different crossing. We have 3 now, so I'll bet this 30. Now I have a crossing 3 versus greater than 3, which is 3 versus 2. But I still have my 12, 11. So now I'm betting, what, 14 numbers, 15 numbers. I'm only going to lose a couple, three more, and then I'm gonna pack it in. I'm gonna try not to go down any lower than $60. $60 loss, I mean, because it's just absolutely not my night. But maybe it'll turn around here. Let's see. 33, no dice. Now, we still. No, we don't have a 12 to 10. That killed everything. See, this is now 4 to 2. That's not a crossing. 12, 10. That's not a crossing. 10, 4. That's not a crossing. 9 would need an 8 right here. That's not a crossing. So, now, I just got off of the 1, the 15, and the 30. It would not surprise me in the slightest to see one of those numbers hit. I've seen that so many times. Here's something interesting. That hit 11, 11, 11, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9. To continue that pattern, that one would have to hit and make it an 8. Wouldn't that be something? $34. Okay, that brings up a crossing. Number 1 versus number 2. It's 11 numbers again. 2, 6, 8, 14, 16. 2, 6, 8, 14, 16, 18, 19, 22, 26, 27, and 31. Anything else? 11, 11. Now, if one of these three array hits, the 1, the 15, the 30, or 33, it'll move down here, and that will make a 3 versus 3. I mean, a 3 versus greater than 3, but it'll be 3 numbers here and 3 numbers here. So, and here we have 4 nines. Didn't work, did it? Okay. Okay. Well, at least we're starting to spin the wheel now. Maybe that'll help. Well, there's a hit. Hit on the 6. All right, now let's see what that did, if anything. Okay, now, if we got a hit on this right here, on this 1 array, that would make that a 9, and that would bring in a crossing. This would be a very unusual crossing to have a 9 versus 9 that late in the game. 4, 2 is not a crossing, 12, so I don't have a crossing. But a minute an hour and 45 minutes into this mess. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. 0. What do we get? 13. Okay. 11, 5, 2. Nothing. Okay, let's see what we get here. What is that? 12? What does that do? That brings up the ones again. 11. 2, 8, 12, 14. Where's my cursor? 2, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 22, 26, 27. Okay. All right. Now this 2 column is only a couple of hits away. That would be a 10-8 and then a 9-9. So that's 2 hits away from a crossing. Now, this is something that worries me. When I get this many numbers in this 3, there's 5 of them there. That's sometimes they'll really start beating you up. What is that? The 3? Shoot. Okay, that's what happened. One of those numbers right there hit. So now I got the same thing, and I got these 4 right here. 1, 13, 15, 33. 1, 13, 15, 33. So I got a 3 versus greater than 3, 4 to 3. Okay, what are we going to get this time? 32. Got the number ones. 2, 6, 8, 12, 14, 2. 2, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 22, 26, 27, 31. Now, what happened was a 2 went over there and joined the 3 rank, and that ran my crossing there, but it brings up the 11, 10, that's still a crossing. They're only one away, 1 versus 2, and I tell you, I've got about 2 more bets, and this is going to be it. This is just one of the, today, this morning was one of the best ones I ever had, and tonight has got to be one of the sorriest ones I ever had. It's just hard to imagine. But all the time that I've been sitting here, all of these numbers in this 1 and 2, every one of those have not hit. That's a bunch of numbers to have not hit. Another loser. Alright, now that brings up a different crossing though. That brings up the 2 numbers. 4, 5, 6, 10. 20, 21, 28. 34 and 35. That brings up to 2 versus greater than 2. And here's what kills me. One of the things that kills me. I was on that 1 column twice, missed it. And now that I had to get off of it because it's no longer a crossing, 11, 9 is not a crossing. So many times that sucker hit, it just makes you furious. Just makes you furious. 5. A winner. Now let's see what we got. Okay, there's one more possible crossing. This is one of those times when you would probably jump back. And I'm going to show you what a jump back looks like before I leave here. But if we got a hit on this 1, that'd make that a 10, and the 2 would be a 9. And that would be the 1 versus 2 crossing. And if I don't get that in a couple of spins, I'm going to pack it in, because we're hitting 2 hours on this video. And I doubt if anybody's watching it, so let's see what happens. And we got the 10. What does that do for us? That didn't do it. I just missed a crossing. I just missed a crossing. The 8, 7, the 2, 3 was a crossing. And I completely missed it. Look at that. And it hit. 7, 8, 8, 7. I don't know how I missed that. I'm tired. That's how I missed it. That is so disgusting. Well, that about tops my day off. I'm going to show you this jump back. -1. I put in a -1. Look what happens. See, it goes back to 20 numbers. And you're ready to start over. So, I am just sick over missing that last one. See you later.